None that conforms to established physics. Gaheris hesitated, then added, "But I have a theory that extends beyond conventional science. The crystal, what you've called sangral, seems to respond to certain people, certain bloodlines, especially yours." He gestured to the pulsing light within the core. "It's almost as if it recognizes you, resonates with something in your genetic makeup. The energy output increases exponentially in your presence, as if drawing power from some connection between you and something else, something beyond our current understanding." "That's impossible," Arthur replied automatically, though he couldn't deny what he was witnessing. The crystal's glow had intensified, the patterns within it becoming more organized, more deliberate, as if trying to communicate. 8 weeks ago, Gaheris continued, his scientific curiosity temporarily overriding his distress, I began mapping these resonance patterns across the city. They form lines, energy channels that converge at specific points. One of those points is directly beneath this tower. He pulled up a map on his tablet, showing lines of energy flowing through CAMELOTROPOLIS like luminous veins converging beneath their feet. Merlin called them ley lines in that paper he published before his breakdown. Everyone dismissed it as the ravings of a brilliant mind gone mad, but he was right. Arthur finished, studying the map. It matched the strange diagram he'd glimpsed in the envelope Merlin had given Gwen, the one he'd been too disturbed to examine closely. Another subtle vibration passed through the floor, stronger this time. "Something's wrong," Gaheris said, turning back to his instruments. "The resonance is increasing without input. It shouldn't be doing this unless—" He broke off, his expression changing to one of horror. "Someone's modified the containment protocols. The system is preparing for full activation." "Shut it down," Arthur ordered. "I can't. The override requires board-level authorization." Gaheris's hands trembled as they flew over the controls. "It's Morgan. She was here earlier. She wanted me to remove the limiters on the prototype's output." Arthur's phone buzzed, a message from Kay, bored, growing restless. "Morgan suggesting we proceed without you. Need you back immediately." Another message arrived seconds later, this one from Lance. 3 minutes out. "Do not activate the prototype." Merlin's warning specific about catastrophic resonance cascade. The floor vibrated again, the sensation spreading up through the walls of the laboratory. On Gaheris's monitors, the energy output from the prototype continued to climb, the graph lines rising at an increasingly steep angle. "We need to evacuate the building," Arthur said, already reaching for the emergency protocols on his phone. "It's too late," Gaheris whispered, staring at his screen. "The reaction has become self-sustaining. If Merlin's theories are correct, the resonance will spread through the ley lines beneath the city. The entire grid is destabilizing." Arthur made his decision. "Get to the boardroom. Tell them nothing about what's happening here, just that I've ordered an immediate evacuation due to a security threat. Use Protocol Omega." "And you?" Arthur looked at the pulsing crystal. "I'm going to try something Merlin once suggested. If the technology truly responds to me, perhaps I can influence it directly." "That's theoretical at best, suicidal at worst," Gaheris protested. "We're past conventional solutions," Arthur replied. "Go, now." After Gaheris left, Arthur approached the prototype, watching as the crystal's glow intensified further, the patterns within it shifting more rapidly. The vibrations beneath his feet had become a continuous tremor, the laboratory equipment rattling against the tables. In the distance, he could hear alarms beginning to sound. The building's automated systems detecting what the instruments around him confirmed. Something impossible was occurring. Arthur placed his hands on the containment housing surrounding the crystal, feeling an immediate connection. Like electricity, but somehow deeper, more fundamental, as if something was recognizing him at a cellular level. The sensation was both familiar and alien, comforting and terrifying. "The king and the land are one," he murmured, recalling Merlin's words. Within the crystal, the patterns coalesced, forming a momentary image. The city spread out in miniature, connected by flowing lines of light that matched the ley line map exactly. At the center, where the tower stood, a column of energy stretched upward, pressing against what appeared to be an invisible barrier. As Arthur watched, mesmerized, the barrier began to tear. The round table room erupted into controlled chaos as Gaheris burst through the doors, breathless and disheveled. "Security Protocol Omega," he gasped, using the code phrase that triggered immediate evacuation procedures. Mr. Pendragon's direct order. Kay was on his feet instantly. "Everyone, please proceed to the emergency stairwells. Security will guide you. This is not a drill." The board members reacted with varying degrees of alarm and confusion, some rising immediately, others demanding explanations. Morgan alone remained seated, watching the unfolding scene with calculated interest. "What's happening?" Igraine Pendragon asked, her voice cutting through the rising noise. "Where is my son?" Before Gaheris could answer, the building shuddered, a different sensation from the vibrations in the laboratory, more like a massive impact. The smart glass windows momentarily darkened, their embedded systems responding to stress. Outside, the morning sky had taken on a strange quality, the light filtering through what appeared to be a rippling distortion in the air above the tower. "Arthur is attempting to stabilize the situation," Gaheris answered carefully, aware of Morgan watching him. The prototype experienced an unexpected reaction. Morgan rose smoothly from her seat. "Perhaps I should assist. As the head of Avalon Enterprises' research division, I may have insights that could help." "No," Kay intervened firmly. "Protocol Omega requires full evacuation, no exceptions. Security will escort everyone to the ground floor." As if on cue, Bedivere entered with a team of security personnel. "This way, please. Remain calm and proceed in an orderly fashion." Another tremor shook the building, stronger than the first. The digital display flickered, momentarily showing not the Excalibur logo but a strange pattern of interlocking circles and lines, a geometric configuration that resembled ancient Celtic knotwork. In the midst of the evacuation, Lance Dulac burst through the stairwell door, a folder clutched in his hand. His eyes scanned the room, finding Kay. "Where's Arthur?" "Laboratory level," Kay replied tersely. "What's happening, Lance?" Instead of answering, Lance turned to Gaheris. "The prototype, has it been activated at full capacity?" Gaheris nodded, sweat beading on his forehead. "The containment protocols were overridden. It's gone beyond theoretical parameters. The resonance is spreading through the ley lines." Lance's expression darkened. Merlin warned this would happen. The veil between worlds is he kept talking about. It's not metaphorical. The Grail technology is somehow connected to ancient energy patterns beneath the city. "This is nonsense," Morgan interrupted smoothly, though her eyes betrayed keen interest. "A technical malfunction, nothing more. I'm sure my brother can resolve it." Lance fixed her with a cold stare. "Merlin's last note specifically mentioned you, Miss Fay. Something about a witch who couldn't allow the truth to reach Arthur before the board meeting." Morgan's composed expression didn't waver. "The ravings of a drug-addled mind. I suggest we focus on the evacuation rather than conspiracy theories." Another violent tremor rocked the building, this one causing several of the board members to lose their balance. Through the windows they could see something impossible, a shimmer in the air above the city, like heat ripples but more substantial, spreading outward from the tower in concentric circles. "My son," Igraine said quietly, her gaze fixed not on the strange phenomenon outside, but on the elevator doors. "He's not coming up, is he?" Kay and Lance exchanged glances. "No," Kay admitted. "He believes he can stabilize the reaction personally." "Because the king and the land are one," Igraine murmured, an echo of Merlin's words that startled both men. It was always his burden to bear. Before either could question her, the building's power flickered, the emergency systems activating as the main grid failed. Red emergency lights bathed the round table room in an apocalyptic glow. "Everyone out now!" Bedivere commanded, his military training evident in the authority of his voice. As the group moved toward the stairwells, Lance pulled Kay aside. "I need to get to Arthur." "It's too dangerous," Kay objected. "The lower levels are approaching critical instability." "If anyone can help him stabilize whatever's happening, it's me," Lance insisted. "You know that." After a brief hesitation, Kay nodded. "Take the service elevator. It has independent power and leads directly to the laboratory level. I'll make sure everyone else gets out safely." As Lance turned toward the service corridor, Morgan's voice stopped him. "Commissioner Dulac." He turned, expecting an objection, but instead found her holding out a small flash drive. "If you're going to help Arthur," she said, her expression unreadable, "you may need this. It contains the original containment protocols, the ones that were overridden. Lance accepted it with surprise and suspicion. Why would you have this? Insurance, she replied simply. I always prepare for all eventualities. He studied her face, trying to decipher her true motives, then pocketed the drive. This doesn't mean I trust you. It doesn't need to, Morgan answered, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. It only matters that you help my brother. Whatever else you may think of me, we share that goal, for today at least. As Lance disappeared down the corridor, Morgan turned back to find Igraine watching her with knowing eyes. Playing both sides as always, the older woman observed quietly. I prefer to think of it as adapting to changing circumstances, Morgan replied. Unlike Arthur, I understand that sometimes destruction must precede creation. And what exactly are you creating, Morgan? Before she could answer, the most violent tremor yet shook the building, sending both women staggering against the wall. Outside, the distortion in the sky had become a visible tear, a jagged line of emptiness cutting through reality itself, revealing glimpses of somewhere else, somewhere that shouldn't exist in their world. A new CAMELOTROPOLIS, Morgan whispered, staring at the tear with a mixture of awe and satisfaction. One where power flows freely, not constrained by artificial barriers. One where magic returns to the world. 43 floors below, Arthur Pendragon stood alone in the laboratory, his hands still pressed against the Grail prototype's housing. The crystal's glow had engulfed him completely now, a column of light extending upward through the ceiling, through every floor of the tower, connecting to the tier forming in the sky above. Within that light, Arthur saw visions. Ancient stone circles, aligned with the same patterns now emerging beneath CAMELOTROPOLIS. Medieval knights gathering around a table identical in proportion to the conference room above, his own face reflected back through countless variations across time, always a leader, always bearing the same burden. The king and the land are one, the visions seemed to whisper, countless voices layered into a single truth. When one sickens, so does the other. In that moment, Arthur understood what Merlin had been trying to tell him all along. His mysterious illness, the city's infrastructure problems, the inexplicable properties of the Grail technology, all connected to something older and deeper than modern science could explain. The door to the laboratory burst open as Lance fought his way through the intensifying energy field. "Arthur!" he shouted over the rising hum that filled the room. "You need to step back!" Merlin's notes. This reaction could tear reality itself. Arthur couldn't move his hands from the prototype. "It's already happening, Lance, but I can feel it. I can direct it." "How?" Lance struggled closer, the energy field making each step an effort. "Because it's responding to me," Arthur explained, his voice strangely calm despite the chaos surrounding them. "To my bloodline. Merlin knew, my mother knew. There's a connection between certain people and the energy flowing beneath this city, beneath all cities throughout history." Lance had reached him now, standing just outside the column of light. "Arthur, Morgan gave me the original containment protocols. We can still shut this down." Arthur shook his head. "No, containment was the wrong approach from the beginning. This energy can't be controlled through technology alone. It needs a conduit, a living connection." He looked at his friend, his eyes now glowing with the same light as the crystal. "I need to channel it, direct it safely. The king must heal the wasteland." Understanding dawned on Lance's face. "The king and the land are one," he repeated. Merlin wasn't being metaphorical. "Never was," Arthur confirmed. "But I can't hold it much longer. The connection, it's too powerful for one person." Lance didn't hesitate. He stepped forward into the light, placing his hands beside Arthur's on the prototype. "Not one person," he said firmly. "That was always the point of the Round Table. No king rules alone." The energy field stabilized slightly as Lance joined the connection, the violent tremors reducing to a steady vibration. Through the column of light, they could both see the tier in reality above the tower beginning to close, the edges knitting together as the wild energy found direction through their combined will. "It's working," Arthur said, relief evident in his voice. "But we need more. The pattern isn't complete with just 2 points." As if in answer, the laboratory door opened again, and Gwen stepped through, her mayoral security detail trying unsuccessfully to hold her back. "I felt it," she said simply, moving toward them with determination. across the city during the groundbreaking. I knew I needed to be here. She joined them, adding her hands to the prototype, completing a triangle around the crystal. The light engulfed her as well, and the remaining instability in the energy field settled into a harmonious flow. Above the city, the tear sealed completely, leaving only the memory of its existence in the minds of those who had witnessed it. "The three of us," Arthur murmured, understanding flowing through the connection. "Always the three of us, across time and space. The king, the champion, the heart." As the crisis stabilized, the true magnitude of what had occurred began to register. The Grail technology wasn't just a new energy source. It was a rediscovery of something ancient, something that had always existed in the connection between people and places, between rulers and their domains. Something Morgan had understood perhaps better than Arthur himself. The light began to recede, the immediate danger passing, but Arthur knew this was only the beginning. The veil had been torn once. It could be torn again. And now that the energy patterns beneath CAMELOTROPOLIS had been awakened, nothing would ever be the same. In the distance, sirens wailed as emergency services responded to the unexplained phenomena that had affected the entire city. Reports would soon flood in of strange sightings, of momentary glimpses into somewhere else, of ancient symbols appearing in modern architecture. "What happens now?" Lance asked as the three of them finally released their hands from the prototype, the crystal's glow dimming to a steady, manageable pulse. Arthur looked at his closest friend and his wife, the three of them bound now by something beyond ordinary experience or explanation. "Now," he said, "we rebuild, but differently, with understanding of what truly flows beneath this city, beneath all cities. The Round Table Initiative becomes something more than urban renewal." He glanced at the now stable prototype. "And we ensure that no one, not Morgan, not anyone, can exploit this power for their own ends." Gwen touched the crystal gently, her political instincts already calculating the implications. "The public will need explanations for what they saw today." "They'll get a version of the truth," Arthur decided. "An energy experiment with unexpected side effects. Nothing about tears in reality or ancient power awakening." "And the board?" Lance asked. Arthur's expression hardened slightly. "The board will receive a full briefing on the modified Grail project, its capabilities and its limitations, including the fact that it requires specific individuals to function safely." He looked pointedly at the flash drive Lance had placed on the workstation. "And I'll be having a separate conversation with my sister about unauthorized protocol modifications." As they prepared to leave the laboratory, Arthur paused, suddenly overcome by another wave of insight. A side effect, perhaps, of his connection to the energies they had just channeled. "Merlin knew," he said quietly. "He wasn't just warning us about the technology. He was trying to prepare us for what happens next." "What does happen next?" Gwen asked. Arthur looked toward the ceiling, toward the city that had glimpsed, however briefly, the thin barrier between their world and something else. "Magic returns to CAMELOTROPOLIS," he answered, "and we need to be ready."